right, here we go. It's on to the fun stuff. This is the playbook. This is an entire series of instructional videos where we go step by step through all the different components that make up Armed Exhibition Drill, at least at a basic level, at least at a level where this is going to give you something to grasp onto and something to kind of start with or add to your already existing toolbox of tricks, moves, spins, etc. So we're going to start with our position of retention. Now, at this point in time, by the time you're watching this, we probably know feet are at 45 degrees, hands are at the seams of the trousers, we're looking straight forward, shoulders are square, and our rifle is held in our hand in a V-grip position or a taco grip position with the arm fully extended downward, toe of the rifle on line with the toe of our foot, and with the front sight pulled back until we're in contact with our arm. So this is our basic regulation position of retention. But for exhibition drill, we're going to make some modifications. We're going to do things a little bit differently to really maximize our efficiency. So we're going to go and make some adjustments. The first adjustment we're going to make, the first thing we're going to do, instead of having our feet at a 45-degree angle, we're going to close them up toe to toe. Now, this is understandable to our audience and our judges because this is what the service drill teams and the honor guards are doing anyway. Why do we want to close our feet versus having our feet at 45? Well, by the time we get into spinning and doing all sorts of cool stuff and we're going through our sequence, whatever it might be, the last thing I want a judge to be worried about is whether our feet are at a perfect 45-degree angle. That's such a lame reason to lose a point. It's such a lame reason to get gigged for something. It's kind of one of those, let's not miss the forest for the trees. And the easiest way to do that, because I don't want any of our brain space dedicated to 45-degree angles, I am far more happy with having my toes closed. And the margin for error, if one foot winds up slightly in front of another foot, the margin for that being caught is far lower if the feet are parallel to each other as opposed to being at that 45. So that's the first adjustment we're going to make to our position of retention. We're going to want feet with toes closed. This also helps us if we're going to stomp or if we're going to do any kind of footwork. It gives us a better and more stable position to close to and a cleaner look overall. Plus, like I said before, it's something the honor guards do already. So, the next adjustment we're going to make. Obviously, the toe of the rifle is still going to go on line with the toe of the foot, and we're going to define the toe of the foot as being the furthest forward point of our shoe. I know that in some cases, we may have been trained to find our pinky toe, but because, again, I don't want the judge thinking about the size of people's pinky toes in relation to their shoes, and by the way, they will never think about that. We're going to go for the cleanest and most uniform look, which is to place the toe of the rifle on line with the furthest point forward on the shoe. So wherever the shoe is furthest forward, that's where the toe of the rifle is going. Now, as opposed to holding with the hand behind the rifle, as in regulation drill, this is exhibition. We're not going to be spending a whole lot of time on the ground at the position of order arms, and therefore, we're going to make an adjustment to how we grasp the rifle, basically for efficiency. So, what I'd like you to try to do is we're going to start standing in a regulation position with our toes closed, a little bit different than how we would normally stand. And what I want you to do next is rotate your hand to the front of the rifle. Keep the fingers fully extended and joined. Don't let that pinky or that middle finger trail away. But as opposed to being on the back of the rifle, let's rotate to the front. And this way, we have a little bit more of a grasp forward and backward versus side to side. So when we hold the rifle, we're going to be holding it with the fingers joined on the front. Thumb still goes behind that rifle. Sometimes it's kind of weird when I put my thumb. The thumb is going to go directly behind the rifle. From here, we're going to make an adjustment about the level of our hand. Now, if you are a tall person and your arm fully extended still does not get to this point, obviously your arm is going to be fully extended. That's totally fine. But for most of us of average or like me, shorter height, what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to put the middle finger, the tip of the middle finger, on top of the screw, on top of the band of the sling swivel. So what that's going to cause some of us to do is to have a slight bend or a slight curvature in our arm. And that's totally fine because, again, thinking about exhibition, we don't spend a whole lot of time in this position, and my grip right here is going to allow me to maneuver the rifle in an exhibition style much, much more efficiently. We are still going to make sure that the rifle barrel is pulled back along the seam of the trousers, so we don't want it to stick forward, we don't want it to point up. We still want it to have a slight angle backwards so that it is on that trouser seam. But now we might have a slight bend in the elbow on our right side, and our grip has been adjusted from this guy right here to this guy right here. So that looks like so. We really want to make sure that we have a great, what we would call a T-form, which means that our vertical alignment and the horizontal alignment of our shoulders are perfectly squared. Make sure that we're not leaning to the left or to the right. One great exercise to do this is to bring the shoulders up, back, and down and really square them and pull them backwards and lift that rib cage up so it's being pulled away from our hips. And when we stand in that position, we have an exhibition position which allows us to readily assume the next thing that we're going to work on, which is our position of exhibition port arms.